Hello everyone, it's such a pleasure to see you again on our familiar channel. As usual, today I bring you a brand new episode continuing the emotional story of the strong and resilient single mother, Ly Hoai Ca. In the previous episodes, we shed tears with Hoai Ca as she struggled to raise little Tony all on her own, playing the role of both mother and provider while bearing the heavy burden of daily worries. But in the most recent episode, the story took an unexpected and deeply moving turn. After so many days apart, Hùng, the man who once left for work, finally discovered the truth. Hoai Ca is carrying his child. That very moment was not only a burst of happiness for Hoai Ca, but for us, the audience following this journey, it was a heartfelt mix of joy and anticipation. Not wanting the woman he loves to face loneliness any longer, Hùng hurriedly arranged his work and decided to return to Hoai Ca's side. It was a courageous decision, born from love and the responsibility of a man, a father. Yet, what lies ahead for them? After all the hardships, will Hoai Ca have enough faith to open her heart and accept Hùng return? And Tony, that innocent, carefree boy, how will he react when he learns that soon he will have a little sibling in the family? All of these questions will gradually unfold in today's episode. Unexpected twists, heartwarming moments, and new challenges will come together to create a journey you won't want to look away from. So, let's sit back together, listen, and follow the story until the very end of the video so you won't miss a single moment. And as always, don't forget to leave your comments and share your feelings below. Your support is the greatest motivation for me and the team to continue bringing you meaningful stories. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to join Hoai Ca, Hùng, and little Tony on their journey to build a home full of love and hope. I'm certain that what's coming next will move you, surprise you, and make you feel even more connected to this story. After many months apart, Hùng finally set foot back in his hometown. As soon as the bus stopped at the familiar alley, he could hardly contain himself. He jumped off with his luggage in hand, eyes scanning anxiously for the silhouette of the woman he had missed so dearly. His heart pounded, filled with both eagerness and nervous anticipation. At the end of the alley, Hoai Ca was already waiting. Her gaze carried a trace of shyness, but the joy in her eyes was undeniable. When they finally came face to face, Hùng immediately stepped forward and clasped her fragile hand tightly. In his eyes flickered worry, tenderness, and love all at once. "I'm home. I don't want you to carry all this alone anymore. Let's go for a checkup right away. I need to be sure you and our baby are healthy." His voice trembled, yet was resolute. Hoai Ca smiled faintly and nodded. Her heart warmed under his concern, though hesitation still lingered within her. Before she could say much, Hùng had already guided her into the car. He carefully fastened her seatbelt before starting the engine. The road to the hospital that day felt endless. The breeze through the window was cool, but neither of them noticed. They said little, their hands intertwined tightly. The warmth flowing from palm to palm carried unspoken comfort and reassurance. Hoai Ca gazed down silently, eyes brimming with tears, while Hùng squeezed her hand harder, his eyes fixed on the road, but his heart beating only for her and their child. When they entered the examination room, an unusual stillness filled the air. The soft white light illuminated everything, making the room seem brighter than ever. The doctor calmly prepared, his composed face only heightening their tension. The rhythmic hum of the ultrasound machine echoed, each second stretching like eternity. Hoai Ca held her breath, eyes wide on the screen, while Hùng sat close beside her, his hand never leaving hers. His heart raced with unspoken fears. Was the baby healthy? Was Hoai Ca safe? Then the doctor's voice rang out, warm and reassuring. "Congratulations to you both. The pregnancy is over 2 months along. The heartbeat is steady and strong. Both mother and baby are in stable condition. In that moment, the world seemed to stand still. Tears spilled down Hoai Ca's cheeks, not heavy with sorrow, but overflowing with joy. She turned to Hùng, her radiant eyes saying what words could not. At last, our baby is safe. Hùng stared at the screen where their child's tiny heartbeat pulsed in steady rhythm. His eyes shone with a happiness he had never felt before. Leaning down, he placed a gentle kiss on her forehead, his voice choked with emotion. Thank you. Thank you for bravely protecting our baby all this time. Overcome with emotion, Hoai Ca buried her face against his shoulder. They held each other tightly in that small examination room, uncaring of the doctors and nurses moving around them. For the two of them, in that moment, the world had narrowed to a new faith, a new happiness that had just begun. After returning from the hospital with indescribable joy, Hùng could hardly take his eyes off Hoai Ca. Alongside his happiness, worry lingered in his heart. He thought, she has endured so much. Now it's my turn to shoulder everything so that Hoai Ca and our child can be at peace. The next morning, as the gentle sunlight spread across the red-tiled roof and roosters crowed in the distance, Hùng woke early. He rolled up his sleeves and walked into the vegetable garden behind the house. It was the same garden Hoai Ca had poured so much effort into over the years, but now, left unattended due to her health, it had grown over with weeds and tangled rows. Looking at it, Hung's chest tightened. He silently vowed, I will rebuild it all, so you won't have to struggle anymore. Then he bent down, pulling weeds, clearing old stalks. His hands, once accustomed to rifles and regimented work in the military, now moved clumsily but patiently over the humble soil of his hometown. When Hoai Ca stepped out and saw him, her heart softened. There he was, once a distant man, now laboring like a true husband, a true father. She smiled, warmth mixed with shyness. I'm fine. Don't let me just stand here watching. I want to do this with you, she said gently but firmly. Hùng looked up, sweat beading on his forehead, and quickly shook his head. No, you're pregnant. Rest, let me handle everything. But Hoai Ca stepped closer, determination shining in her eyes. I'll only do light work. I don't want to be a burden. Working side by side is what gives it meaning. Later, when our child is born and sees this garden grown by both parents, the happiness will be even greater. Faced with her resolve, Hùng sighed and handed her a small basket. All right, but only picking leaves and pulling a few weeds. No bending too long, no lifting heavy things. I'll do the rest. And so, life returned to the small garden. Birds chirped on the branches, a soft breeze rustled through the bamboo, mixing with Hoai Ca's laughter when she accidentally dropped soil onto Hung's shirt. He pretended to frown, while she covered her mouth, laughing a radiant smile he had longed to see again. See, Hoai Ca said as she sowed seeds. Tending a garden is like building a family. You have to be patient, nurture it together, and one day you'll see sweet fruits. Hùng paused, gazing at her glowing face. His voice was low and steady. Yes, and I believe we'll have a bountiful harvest. Not just in the garden, but in this home too. By late afternoon, the garden was neat again, rows of fresh soil promising green days ahead. Hoai Ca sat resting on the porch, her hand gently stroking her belly, eyes full of hope. Hùng, however, had already moved on to another thought. Standing in the old kitchen, he looked at the cracked wooden walls, leaky roof, and soot-blackened stove. His heart ached. He turned to Hoai Ca. I'll rebuild this kitchen. You can't keep cooking in such hardship. Before she could respond, he was already clearing bricks and mixing mortar. Each brick he laid, each strike of the hammer, carried his love and determination. Watching him, Hoai Ca's eyes filled with tears. "You're working so hard," she whispered. Hung turned, smiling gently, his voice steady. "I want you to cook in comfort, not in smoke and leaks. This kitchen isn't just for meals, it's where we'll keep the fire of our family alive." In that moment, Hoai Ca stood still, overwhelmed. She realized happiness was not found in luxury, but in the care and devotion of the man willing to shoulder everything for her and their child. As the sunset bathed the small house in golden light, peace and warmth filled the air, the warmth of a love being rebuilt, piece by piece, day by day. It was a tranquil afternoon. Golden sunlight stretched across the vast fields like a thin silk veil. Waves of rice rippled gently in the wind, and the faint scent of fresh straw lingered in the air, softening the hearts of anyone passing by. On an old motorbike, Hung carried Hoai Ca along the familiar village road, wheels rolling steadily between rows of bamboo swaying in the breeze. The cicadas buzzed high above, like a summer melody that made the road both lively and peaceful. Sitting behind him, Hoai Ca wrapped her arms gently around his waist, her hair fluttering in the wind. Her heart brimmed with both nervousness and anticipation. Today was not just a visit, it was also a chance to thank the woman who had sheltered her during the hardest days, Mother Ha. Her small house appeared behind a row of areca palms, the tiled roof darkened by time yet still neat and warm. In the yard, a plump cow, the family's greatest asset, was being inspected by a buyer. Mother Ha stood nearby, her face weathered yet brightened with joy when she saw Hung and Hoai Ca arrive. "Oh, you're here. Come give me a hand. Once we finish selling this cow, we can sit down and talk," she said with a cheerful yet slightly weary voice. Hung hurried over, firmly grasping the rope as he led the cow forward, speaking with the buyer. Hoai Ca stood close, her hand stroking the animal's warm back, her eyes full of fondness. This cow had been not only a source of livelihood, but also a support for the family, and for Hoai Ca during her toughest days. At last, the sale went smoothly. The buyer agreed on a fair price, and Mother Ha smiled with relief, as though a heavy weight had been lifted. She turned to the young couple, eyes brimming with affection. "Thanks to you both, I feel at peace today. With this cow sold, I have one less burden to worry about." Once the business was done, the three of them sat down on the porch. The lush gourd vines stretched overhead, with tender fruits swaying gently in the breeze. Sparrows chirped as they flew back to their nests, blending with the aroma of green tea rising from the pot Mother Ha had just poured. The simple scene radiated peace and warmth. Lifting his cup, Hung's gaze softened. He lowered his head, his voice deep and tinged with emotion. "Mother, I'm truly grateful for everything you've done to care for Hoai Ca while I was away. If not for you, she would have suffered much more." Hearing this, Mother Ha's eyes grew misty. She placed her rough, calloused hand over his, her voice trembling yet full of love. "Son, to me, Hoai Ca is like my own daughter. She's endured so much pain and loss. I love her as if she were my own blood. Helping her isn't a burden, it brings me peace. Don't feel guilty." The air grew still for a moment. Hoai Ca sat silently, her eyes red as she clenched the edge of her skirt to steady her overflowing emotions. Hung looked at Mother Ha, his voice catching it firm. "If one day I must leave again for work, I only hope you'll continue looking after Hoai Ca. I can only feel at ease knowing she has you by her side." His words carried a weight of trust and devotion. Hoai Ca turned to him, tears spilling down her cheeks, not of sorrow, but of happiness. Mother Ha nodded gently, her eyes shining with resolve. "Rest assured, as long as I'm here, I will never let her or the child go without." Her promise echoed beneath the porch, mingling with the rustling wind and birdsong, like a hymn of kinship and the simple beauty of village life. The three sat together, their laughter and tears dissolving all distance. In that peaceful countryside afternoon, the faith in a steadfast, loving home quietly grew in each of their hearts. Late in the afternoon, after leaving Mother Ha's house, Hùng carried Hoài Ca down the sunlit village road. As they passed by the kindergarten gate, Hoài Ca signaled for him to stop. Inside the yard, children were still playing, and Tony was just being let out by his teacher. The moment he spotted his parents, the boy's round eyes lit up like two tiny stars. Tony babbled, unable to form full words yet, but his tiny hand waved nonstop. He stumbled forward on unsteady legs, running as fast as he could, before crashing into Hoài Ca's arms. His clumsy, eager hug nearly knocked her backwards, and Hùng quickly reached out to steady her before lifting his son high into the air. Tony burst out in laughter, his small hands patting his father's shoulders, his tousled hair dancing in the golden light. "My boy," Hùng whispered, his voice trembling. He held his son tightly to his chest, breathing in deeply as though trying to make up for all the months apart. Hoài Ca gazed at the two of them, her eyes brimming with tears, her heart overflowing with happiness. Hand in hand, the three left the school and walked along the sunlit path. Birds chirped as they returned to their nests, while the fragrance of young rice spread from the fields. Nestled in his father's arms, Tony would occasionally lean toward his mother, pressing his tiny hand against her cheek before giggling. He could not yet speak, only babbling ma, ba, but those simple sounds were enough to warm both Hung's and Hoài Ca's hearts. Back at their small home, Hoài Ca quickly prepared a humble dinner. On the tray were just a bowl of fresh vegetable soup, a fragrant plate of braised fish, and a few ripe tomatoes from the garden. The glow of the oil lamp cast soft light on their smiles and every tender, clumsy movement of the little family. Hùng gently placed Tony in a small bamboo chair, keeping an eye on him while helping Hoài Ca set the meal. That dinner needed no luxury for them. It was the happiest meal in a long time. Tony reached for the rice bowl, poked at the fish with chopsticks, making all three laugh. His innocent laughter, blended with the clinking of dishes, created a melody both simple and warm. Midway through the meal, Hùng set his chopsticks down, turned, and clasped Hoài Ca's hand. His eyes held hers deeply, his voice low but firm. "I promise to love you for the rest of my life. No matter how hard things get, I will never leave you alone again." Hoài Ca froze for a moment. A tear rolled down her cheek, not of sorrow, but of overwhelming joy. She nodded softly, smiling through her tears. Tony, watching them curiously, suddenly laughed and stretched out his little arms, wrapping them around both mother and father. He couldn't speak yet, only cooing nonsense, but in that innocent embrace, all the purest love was expressed. The bright laughter of the little family echoed through the kitchen, mingling with the aroma of hot rice, closing the day in perfect fullness. Outside, the new moon rose gently above the bamboo grove, quietly witnessing and blessing a home that had finally found its faith, its love, and its happiness once again. And so, another long day for Hùng, Hoài Ca, and little Tony came to an end in their modest home, filled with laughter and happiness. From the morning's anxious moments in the ultrasound room, hearts trembling as they awaited the doctor's words, to noon, when they worked side by side in the garden, with the sound of hose, water, and cheerful laughter blending together. To the afternoon at Mother Ha's house, helping her sell the cow and sharing warm conversations on the quiet countryside porch, all those moments came together like puzzle pieces, forming a simple yet love-filled picture. Hùng, the man who had once been away, had now returned with a whole heart, bringing with him love and responsibility he had never truly forgotten. No longer just a man consumed by work, he had become a steady anchor, willing to lay each brick, rebuild the kitchen, replant the garden, doing everything so that Hoai Ca and their child could have a peaceful home. Hoai Ca, the single mother who had carried so much alone, now once again held the hand she once thought she had lost. Her tears were no longer of sorrow, but of happiness, sparkling like jewels of renewed faith. And Tony, the little boy barely over 2, unable to form clear sentences yet, simply babbled ma, ba, and clung tightly to his parents. But within his innocent smile and tiny embrace was a power so pure, turning their humble house into a place overflowing with laughter, turning their simple meals into feasts of love. The road ahead will surely still hold trials, for life is never all roses. But faith has returned, and the fire of happiness has been rekindled in life's simplest details. Love, sharing, and steadfastness, these are the walls that will protect this home, keeping the light burning, the hearth warm, no matter what storms rage outside. Dear friends, today's story closes here. Yet the journey of Hoai Ca, Hùng, and little Tony is far from over, filled with hardships still to come, but also with hope and joy. What new blessings await them in the days ahead? Will storms arise, and how will this little family hold hands and overcome them together? All will be revealed in the next episodes. If this story touched your heart or brought you warmth, please give the video a like to show your support. Don't hesitate to leave a comment below and share your thoughts about this family's journey. And if you found this story meaningful, share it so more people can feel and spread the warmth. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any upcoming episodes. See you again in the next video, where more surprises, more moving moments, and more faith in the power of love, family, and home are waiting to be discovered.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện về mẹ đơn thân câu chuyện của Lytudiep và CEO Diệp. Thì như mọi người cũng đã biết thì Diệp và Diệp thì đã kết hôn với nhau. Tuy nhiên thì họ hiện tại là mới phát hiện ra là trước khi kết hôn thì họ đã nhận bé Nhi làm con nuôi, và sau khi kết hôn xong thì họ phát hiện ra là đã có con của cả hai người. Vậy thì liệu sau khi có con thì tình cảm dành cho bé Nhi mà được nhận làm con nuôi có như trước hay không, và liệu điều gì sẽ xảy ra tiếp theo, thì mời mọi người theo dõi hết video hôm nay rồi thì hãy đón xem những video tiếp theo. Mình sẽ cố gắng lên video đều trong những ngày tới để có thể cho mọi người xem. Nhớ đón xem kênh mình bằng cách bật thông báo lên cũng như là đăng ký kênh để không bỏ lỡ bất kỳ video nào mọi người nhé. Và có thể để lại bình luận góp ý ở dưới kênh để có thể góp ý cho kênh mình. Tạm biệt mọi người.